Affordances. My name is Robert Kalinowski, and I'm going to present on our paper, The Ecological Context of Preschool-Aged Children's Selection of Media Content. My co-authors are Ying and Katie Salen, and we're from the University of California at Irvine. Online content is heterogeneous. Varying pieces of content possess varying quality, functionalities, and purposes, and are created with different ages, genders, cultures, or language speakers in mind, and on top of all this can be accessed in a variety of ways. So how do children and their families navigate the immense, ever-growing media landscape and make choices about what to consume, whether intentional or unintentional? Taking the ecological perspective, we conducted a year-long multi-case ethnography of 13 diverse families with 3 to 4-year-old children and explored how individual children select content on smart screens, how these selections are influenced by the child's family, friends, and immediate community, how these selections are influenced by forces with which the child has no direct interaction, and finally, the features of a complex network of multi-directional influences which help determine child selection of content. Among all children, we found that far from impressionable people susceptible to any suggestion, children consistently chose screen content for themselves, which mirrored their off-screen interests. For example, you can see this little boy here loves cars, and sure enough, the content he selected was usually about cars. We found that rather than being sucked into screens for long periods of time, 3- and 4-year-olds generally used screen media as a toy, sometimes to be shared, sometimes to be enjoyed in parallel play, and would often choose to lay screen time aside in favor of playing with other people. Here you can see one little girl from a Spanish-speaking working-class community, including her screen as a prop, as part of pretend kitchen play with us, the researchers, and with her sister. And here you can see a boy from a Chinese-speaking university community family enjoying background PJ Masks projected onto the wall as he plays with toys and with his visitors. But while we found these strong universal trends at the individual child level, we also found that the world of content from which children could actually choose was dependent on their family structure, their parents' attitudes toward screens, and the presence or lack of near-age older siblings. So, for example, here's a 3-year-old girl and her 5-year-old brother from our university community, and her selection of content is constrained by the family's use of an Xbox as the video selector. She's not good at using it, so she must negotiate with her 5-year-old brother as to what she can watch. And in contrast, here you have a 3-year-old little girl in a Spanish-speaking working-class community who has 4 older siblings, but the closest in age to her is 8. So she has free reign over her mother's phone and YouTube and becomes expert in making her own selections of the content she wants, which was generally animated preschool songs. These families had different attitudes and policies over their kids' screen use, which impacts the equipment that they want to buy and what they allow their child to use, which in turn guides or constrains their kids' selection of content in a systematic way. So for another example, here we have a screen risk-oriented family, but they have many other affordances for play and learning in their large house full of developmentally appropriate toys. Thus, this family can prioritize education and yet restrict screen selection for their young children, whereas for our Spanish-speaking working-class immigrant community families, the selection of screen content was a major educational resource. We also found important implications for children's media selection made on the community, society, and industrial level. Through all of these interconnected spheres of influence around the individual child, we found 2 distinct patterns according to whether or not the child belonged to one of our working-class Spanish-speaking immigrant neighborhoods. Taken together, our findings shed light on the ecologically situated nature of children's media content selection, which might be taken into consideration for child-centered media design. Thank you.